In 1999, at the height of the dot-com bubble, millions of ordinary Americans believed they had discovered a shortcut to wealth. Companies with no profits, no proven business models, and sometimes not even a finished product were doubling and tripling in value within weeks. Taxi drivers were giving stock tips. College students were quitting school to day trade. Television hosts were calling it a new era where traditional investing no longer mattered. One man quietly refused to join the party. Warren Buffett, already one of the richest investors in the world, simply stayed away. People laughed at him. Financial magazines questioned whether he had become too old to understand technology. Critics claimed his investing style was outdated. While everyone else seemed to be getting rich overnight, Buffett appeared to be missing the opportunity of a lifetime. Then reality arrived. Between 2000 and 2002, the Nasdaq lost nearly 80% of its value. Trillions of dollars disappeared. Many companies that had been worth billions simply vanished. Thousands of investors lost their savings chasing dreams that were never real. Buffett didn't need to predict the crash. He only needed to avoid making the same mistakes everyone else was making. That raises a fascinating question. What if the biggest investing mistakes aren't the obvious ones? What if the mistakes that quietly destroy wealth are the ones most people never even notice they're making? Today, we're going to uncover 12 investing mistakes Warren Buffett has spent decades warning people about. Some of these mistakes look completely harmless. Others actually feel smart when you're making them. But together, they explain why so many hardworking people never build lasting wealth, even after years of investing. And as we go through each lesson, you'll meet someone named Michael. Michael isn't a real person, but he represents millions of everyday investors. He has a steady job, contributes to his retirement account, watches financial news, and genuinely wants to become financially independent. The problem? Without realizing it, Michael keeps making the same invisible mistakes almost everyone makes. By the end of this video, you'll see how his mindset completely changes, and maybe yours will too. My name is Theo, and I've spent countless hours studying why some investors consistently build extraordinary wealth while others, despite working just as hard, struggle to get ahead. Again and again, the answer comes back to one surprising idea. Success isn't about finding the perfect stock. It's about avoiding costly mistakes that quietly compound over time. If you're serious about building long-term wealth instead of chasing quick wins, take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. If this video helps you avoid even one expensive investing mistake, it could end up being worth far more than the few minutes you spend watching today. Let's begin with a mistake that almost nobody believes they're making. Most people think investing is about buying great companies. Buffett would argue it's actually about buying them at the right price. That sounds simple, but it's one of the hardest lessons in investing. Michael noticed that one of the largest technology companies in America had doubled over the previous 2 years. Every headline praised its incredible growth. Friends at work were buying shares every payday. Social media influencers claimed it would dominate the future. Michael finally gave in. He bought shares after months of watching the stock climb higher. 3 months later, the business itself was still excellent. Sales continued growing. Profits increased. Management executed perfectly. Yet Michael's investment was down nearly 30%. How? Because he hadn't overpaid for a bad company. He had overpaid for a wonderful company. Buffett has often reminded investors that price is what you pay, but value is what you get. Imagine buying a beautiful house worth $400,000. Would it suddenly become a great investment if you paid $800,000? Of course not. The house didn't change. Only the price did. Stocks work exactly the same way. History repeatedly proves this point. During the dot-com bubble, investors paid extraordinary prices for excellent businesses. Many of those businesses survived and eventually became successful. But investors still lost money because they paid far too much. The lesson isn't to avoid great companies. The lesson is to avoid letting excitement convince you that any price is acceptable. Whenever everyone believes something can only go up, that's exactly when you should slow down and ask yourself one question. If nobody were talking about this company today, would I still want to own it at this price? That single question could save you thousands of dollars. Michael didn't realize it yet, but an even bigger mistake was waiting. He believed diversification meant buying as many stocks as possible. One weekend, he watched several videos recommending dozens of must-own stocks. He ended up owning 43 different companies. He proudly told his friends he was diversified. Buffett smiled when he heard investors talk like that. He once said diversification is protection against ignorance. It makes little sense if you know what you're doing. Now, Buffett wasn't saying everyone should own only one stock. He was making a deeper point. Imagine trying to take care of 43 gardens. Could you really know which plants needed attention? Would you notice disease spreading? Would you understand every piece of news affecting each garden? Probably not. Now imagine caring for 5 carefully selected gardens. You'd know every detail. You'd notice problems earlier. You'd make better decisions. Research supports this idea. Numerous academic studies have shown that after around 20 to 30 reasonably uncorrelated stocks, additional diversification provides dramatically smaller reductions in risk while making portfolios much harder to understand and manage. Michael wasn't reducing risk. He was reducing knowledge. Instead of becoming an expert on a few businesses, he barely understood any of them. The lesson? Own enough investments to protect yourself from unexpected events, but not so many that every company becomes just another symbol on your screen. Next came a mistake that almost every investor experiences: confusing activity with progress. Michael checked his investment app every morning before work, every lunch break, every evening, sometimes before going to sleep. If a stock moved 2%, he wondered whether he should buy more. If another dropped 3%, he questioned whether he should sell immediately. He wasn't investing anymore. He was reacting. Buffett once joked that the stock market exists to transfer money from the impatient to the patient. Think about planting an oak tree. Would digging it up every week help it grow faster? Would measuring it every morning make it taller? Of course not. Yet millions of investors do exactly that with their portfolios. One famous study by researchers Brad Barber and Terence Odian examined thousands of brokerage accounts and found that investors who traded the most actually earned significantly lower returns than those who traded less. Why? Because every trade usually involves costs, taxes, and emotional decisions. Markets naturally fluctuate. Reacting to every movement often turns temporary noise into permanent losses. Michael slowly noticed something strange. The days he watched the market the most were also the days he felt the most anxious. The market hadn't changed. His emotions had. That realization planted a seed that would grow much larger before this story ends. Then came a mistake that doesn't just hurt portfolios. It changes lives. Waiting for certainty. Michael had cash ready to invest. But every week brought another reason to delay. Interest rates might rise. Inflation might stay high. An election was coming. Economic reports looked uncertain. There was always another headline suggesting the perfect time hadn't arrived. Months passed, then years. Meanwhile, the market continued climbing. Buffett has repeatedly emphasized that uncertainty is a permanent feature of investing. The future has never been certain, not during wars, not during recessions, not during pandemics, not during financial crises. Yet over the long run, productive businesses have continued creating enormous wealth. Imagine refusing to plant a garden because you're waiting for perfect weather. Eventually, every season passes. The opportunity disappears. Dollar-cost averaging became popular for exactly this reason. Instead of trying to predict tomorrow, investors consistently invest over time. The strategy doesn't eliminate volatility. It eliminates the impossible task of perfectly timing the market. Michael finally invested part of his savings. Not because uncertainty disappeared, because he realized it never would. But just when he started gaining confidence, another invisible trap appeared, one that feels completely logical. Comparing yourself to everyone else. Every Friday evening, Michael opened social media. Someone had doubled their money on an artificial intelligence stock. Another investor claimed to have turned $10,000 into $100,000. Someone else bragged about retiring before age 40. Michael suddenly felt behind. His own portfolio, growing steadily at around 10% annually, suddenly looked disappointing. Buffett has often warned that envy is one of the most destructive emotions in investing. Comparison quietly changes your goals. Instead of building enough wealth for your own future, you start chasing someone else's highlight reel. The irony? Many of the spectacular gains people advertise are never followed by updates when everything falls apart. History is filled with investors who became overnight celebrities before losing nearly everything. Long-term wealth rarely looks exciting. It looks boring. It looks repetitive. It looks patient. The world's greatest fortunes were generally built over decades, not weekends. Michael made a decision. Instead of measuring himself against strangers online, he would measure himself against one question. Am I making better decisions than I did last year? That simple shift removed enormous pressure. But he still hadn't discovered perhaps the most dangerous investing mistake of them all. A mistake so subtle that even intelligent investors fall into it repeatedly. And once Warren Buffett recognized it early in his career, it permanently changed the way he looked at every investment decision he would ever make. That mistake was falling in love with your investments. Michael didn't think of himself as an emotional investor. He considered himself rational. He read articles, watched earnings reports, and followed market news. But one company had become his favorite. He had owned it for years, recommended it to friends, and even defended it in online discussions whenever someone criticized it. Then the company's sales began slowing. Debt increased. Competitors started taking market share. The warning signs were everywhere, yet Michael kept finding reasons to ignore them. It's only temporary. The market is overreacting. They'll figure it out. Sound familiar? Buffett has always stressed that investors should think like business owners, not fans. If you owned a local restaurant and customers stopped showing up every week, you wouldn't ignore the problem simply because you loved the building. You would look at the facts. Investing should be no different. Charlie Munger once said that the first rule of a happy life is to avoid being consistently stupid. That idea applies perfectly here. Intelligence means very little if your emotions refuse to accept reality. One of the most expensive words in investing is hope. Hope is wonderful in life. Hope is terrible when it replaces evidence. The lesson is simple. Never become so attached to an investment that you stop questioning it. The company doesn't know you own its stock. It doesn't care how long you've held it. Your only responsibility is to make the best decision based on today's facts, not yesterday's emotions. As Michael became more objective, he noticed another habit quietly costing him money. He was obsessed with finding the next big winner. Every week there was a new opportunity. Electric vehicles, artificial intelligence, space technology, quantum computing, biotechnology. Each one promised life-changing returns. Michael spent hours searching for the next company that could increase tenfold. Meanwhile, he ignored the boring businesses quietly generating steady profits year after year. Buffett built much of his fortune doing exactly the opposite. He didn't chase excitement, he chased durability. Think about companies that sell everyday products. People brush their teeth during recessions. They drink beverages during inflation. They buy insurance whether markets are rising or falling. These businesses rarely dominate headlines, but many have rewarded patient shareholders for decades. Investing isn't a treasure hunt where only hidden gems matter. Sometimes the greatest opportunities are businesses so ordinary that everyone overlooks them. Michael finally understood that exciting stories don't always produce exciting returns. Then another realization changed everything. He had spent years focusing almost entirely on returns. He rarely thought about risk. Most beginners believe risk means prices moving up and down. Buffett disagrees. Real risk is permanently losing your money. Imagine crossing a river. One bridge shakes every time you walk across it but has never collapsed. Another bridge looks perfectly stable but has hidden cracks in its foundation. Which one is actually more dangerous? Volatility feels scary. Permanent loss is far worse. During the 2008 financial crisis, many outstanding businesses saw their stock prices fall by more than 50%. Investors who understood the difference between temporary volatility and permanent damage stayed calm. Those who panicked often sold near the bottom, locking in losses that could never be recovered. Michael stopped asking, "How much could I make?" Instead, he started asking, "What could permanently go wrong?" That single question improved every decision that followed. But Buffett has often said there is something even more valuable than avoiding losses: time. Imagine investing $10,000 that grows at 10% annually. After 10 years, it becomes nearly $26,000. After 20 years, more than $67,000. After 30 years, over $174,000. After 40 years, more than $450,000. Nothing magical happened. Compounding simply kept working. Albert Einstein is often credited with calling compound interest the eighth wonder of the world, though historians debate whether he actually said it. Regardless of who deserves the quote, the principle itself is undeniable. Compounding rewards patience more than brilliance. Michael had waited until his late 30s to begin investing seriously because he believed he first needed a larger salary. Looking back, he realized his biggest missed opportunity wasn't choosing the wrong stocks, it was waiting. Every year delayed is a year compounding can never recover. The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is today. Just when Michael thought he understood investing, another subtle mistake appeared: listening to everyone. Financial television, podcasts, social media, friends, coworkers, family members. Everyone had an opinion. And somehow every opinion sounded convincing. Buffett has repeatedly warned investors against following the crowd. Remember what happened during the housing bubble. Remember the dot-com craze. Remember cryptocurrency manias. Whenever everyone agrees that something is guaranteed to make money, history suggests caution, not confidence. Independent thinking doesn't mean ignoring information. It means evaluating evidence before accepting conclusions. Michael created a simple rule. Before acting on anyone's advice, he had to explain the investment in his own words. If he couldn't explain why the business deserved his money, he wouldn't invest. This eliminated more bad decisions than any market prediction ever could. Then came a lesson Buffett has repeated throughout his entire career: know what you own. Many investors can tell you today's stock price within seconds. Ask them how the company actually makes money, and the conversation suddenly becomes quiet. Imagine buying a farm. Would you purchase hundreds of acres without knowing what crops it grows? Would you buy an apartment building without knowing who pays rent? Of course not. Yet people buy stocks every day without understanding the underlying business. Buffett famously avoided many technology companies for years, not because technology was bad, but because he refused to invest in businesses he didn't understand. He called it staying inside his circle of competence. That phrase is incredibly powerful. You don't have to understand every industry. You only need enough patience to wait for opportunities inside the ones you do understand. Michael stopped pretending to be an expert on every trend. Ironically, the fewer companies he followed, the more confident his decisions became. Finally, Buffett's last lesson ties every previous mistake together. Most people believe successful investing is about having a higher IQ. Research suggests otherwise. Studies in behavioral finance have consistently shown that emotional biases, fear, greed, overconfidence, loss aversion, and herd behavior often have a greater impact on long-term investment performance than raw intelligence. Buffett himself has said that investing is not a game where the person with the highest IQ wins. It's about temperament. Can you stay calm while everyone else panics? Can you remain patient while others chase shortcuts? Can you admit you're wrong before small mistakes become devastating ones? Michael realized that none of his earlier problems came from lacking information. The information had always been available. His challenge was controlling himself. Once he accepted that, everything changed. He stopped checking prices every hour. He ignored sensational headlines. He invested consistently. He focused on quality businesses purchased at reasonable prices. He accepted that uncertainty would never disappear. Most importantly, he understood that becoming wealthy wasn't about making one brilliant decision. It was about making hundreds of sensible decisions and avoiding a handful of disastrous ones. That's exactly how Warren Buffett built one of the greatest investing records in history. Not by predicting every market move, not by chasing every trend, not by being the smartest person in every room, but by staying disciplined while others became emotional. If you remember only one idea from today's video, let it be this. The greatest enemy of your portfolio is rarely the market. It's the person staring back at you in the mirror. Markets will rise. Markets will fall. News headlines will come and go. New technologies will appear. Economic forecasts will constantly change. But discipline, patience, and emotional control never go out of style. Those qualities quietly compound, just like money. Years from now, people may look at your investment success and assume you discovered secret stocks or possessed extraordinary intelligence. They'll never see the countless mistakes you chose not to make. And perhaps that's Buffett's greatest lesson of all. Building wealth isn't about doing extraordinary things. It's about consistently doing ordinary things extraordinarily well. Thank you for watching. I wish you success.